Just started. The tilt is real. The tilt is real. This is when the tilt is real.
Welcome to another episode of The Tilt is Real Fantasy Podcast. Coming to you live from the chef's table, here are your hosts, James Crease and Juan Pena. Let's go.
Welcome in, Tilters. This is the Tilt is Real Fantasy Football Podcast, and I am your host, James Crease, and we are live on location at Romanelli's Garden Cafe in Galloway, New Jersey, once again for the Monday Night Football kickoff. It's just a great night. It's nice, a little bit cooler tonight than normal, and we have a little surprise here. We are sharing cameras and doing whatever we can to stay live on the air for you guys. Bear with us if we do have a little technical difficulty. We've been trying to iron out some of those hatches there. And guys, what's going on? Obviously, I'm James Crease, the FF_chef, and Juan Carlos Pena, Mr. Juan of a kind himself. How are you, buddy?
Doing fantastic, Chef. It's a Monday night doubleheader. I'm with Mr. Swanson again. We're reunited, and it feels so good. And you said it's cold, Chef. It's hitting weather, baby.
Yeah,
it's football weather.
This is football weather.
Yeah, it's almost here. It's not quite
here.
Football weather, but it's almost here.
I think it's only
feel it.
this beautiful at Romanelli's Garden Cafe on New Road in Galloway. Come on down, have a drink, watch some football. We're going to be streaming the Monday night games tonight. I don't know if you caught that S there, but there are two.
Big
Count
S.
them.
That's an important
two.
S.
That's a big old S. There are two games tonight. We are very excited about them. The first one kicks off in about 38 minutes. I'm not good with that.
33 minutes.
There it is.
Yeah, but we'll take it. Like in a half an hour, we're playing football, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys can't see it here, but we got a beautiful setup at Romanelli's, and Drew Huggard does a great job every week to do this. And on Monday nights, we have the big screen outside.
Oh, yeah.
And you can sit outside on the patio and enjoy yourself. Everybody's social distance, everybody's safe, and having a great time. He's got beer specials and all kinds of deals going
apple
on.
Juice is
appetizers. Yeah, we're just cider. Sure.
Yeah.
And those
Happy
specials
fall,
are $5 chicken tenders, buffalo tenders.
What?
You got $5 buffalo wings,
I'll be back.
mozzarella sticks.
That's the $8 coconut shrimp, bro. They're
$8
so good. The coconut shrimp, the fried shrimp.
for $8?
Yes.
What?
I think that's the one shrimp that Bubba didn't mention. Coconut shrimp.
Yeah.
That one
He
wasn't.
absolutely mentioned coconut
You
shrimp.
did say coconut
100%.
shrimp? All right. Yeah, I know you're the one that remembers all the movie lines. I didn't remember him say. I remember shrimp burger, shrimp gumbo, shrimp stew, all that.
Shrimp
Scampi.
salad,
Yeah.
shrimp burger.
But I didn't remember coconut shrimp.
Coconut
But if you
shrimp,
left it out, I
mango
feel bad
shrimp,
because it's
pineapple
really
shrimp.
good. Like this is some good coconut shrimp.
Yeah, and the last one obviously is the burger, and I love the cheeseburger. So cheeseburger and chips. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. So yeah, the menu's great. The venue's great, and it's beautiful here tonight. Not a cloud in the sky. We're ready to watch some football. I mean, there may be a cloud over there, but beautiful night.
That's a nice crowd.
Yeah.
People are laughing, having a great time. Yesterday was a great time for everybody that scored over 40 points because, whoa, what a day yesterday.
Yeah.
Big games.
We're here to talk fantasy football.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I know, right? We can talk
You
about
can get
Roman.
caught up in the ambiance of being at Romanelli's and being
I know.
out
I
here.
was going to say, tune into the Romanelli show every
Yeah.
Monday around 6-ish once we get our Wi-Fi figured out.
Yeah. We're
All right.
still working on it.
Yeah.
But
So,
be that as it may, I mean, let's run down some games, gentlemen. That's why we're here.
let's do it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
talk about some fantasy football, most importantly.
Rapid
sir.
fire. Let's go.
All right, so rapid fire. We're going to start out with the Colts and the Bears. And
This one's easy. Rapid fire.
Yeah, that's way
stinker.
easy.
Offensive stinker. Great defense.
yeah,
Oh.
great defensive game. Unfortunately, when there's great defense, there's bad offense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And no one really scored over 12 points in this matchup. Wait,
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. I
Yeah,
apologize.
At
Listen,
the end,
Garbage time is real.
the garbage
Right?
Robinson. I was so upset.
Yeah,
I'm
Foles did
playing
his thing
against
at
him
the end.
somewhere.
The Colts defense had their foot on Nick Foles' throat the whole day. The game was stopped. Montgomery didn't have much. I did like the passing usage. He went out on a couple of deep routes and Foles just missed them. So that was nice to see. But otherwise, you saw the dominance of the Colts defense shine through. They held the game down, and then your boy Allen Robinson was the only one to shine.
I'm not going to take a victory lap yet on one person on the Bears offense. Darnell Mooney.
You were right, Chef.
Oh,
5 receptions for
Yeah.
52 yards.
And he was early. He was getting them early. The first catch of the game was
his
him.
targets, nine targets. So we're watching his targets grow, and that is a great sign. He may make it on the waiver wire heroes list coming up.
And
I can see it happening. Nice catch, man.
And a frequent visitor on our site always talks about Anthony Miller and how horrible it is. Chris Hayes, shout out to Chris Hayes. And it might be Darnell Mooney season, or maybe the chef's going to be on that same list as I am for telling you that Anthony Miller was a good play. But we'll see moving forward.
Well, we always get some right and we always get some wrong. I got plenty of wrong this week, but thankfully we had some good ones.
Yeah. Well, speaking of good ones, Chef, the best game of the day, probably the number one fantasy scorer of the day, is in the next game.
Yes.
Your boy Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
I love him.
I had a feeling he was going to have a good game, but I had no idea he was going to come out the woodwork and put up 42 points.
Did not.
Yeah, 151 rushing, 3 touchdowns. Like, it's a monster game for him. The involvement in the passing game, it's what you've always wanted out of Joe Mixon.
And
all the truthers out there, this is their game.
I say I didn't see it coming, but at the same time, it's like you knew it was coming, and I'm happy to see that it came on the 4th game in the season.
Yeah, instead of the 8th game in the season. Like last year, you were ready to drop him halfway through the season.
Oh, game week 5, I was about to panic.
Yeah.
I was going to hit the panic button.
Well, the one person who can't hit the panic button is AJ Green at the bottom of the list. 1 for 5.
See ya.
I'm sorry, 1 reception on 5 targets for 3 yards. What a dud. Mine's would have been a goose egg.
He was hurt, though. I saw him grabbing, like, at his shoulders, clavicle. Something's banged up.
He's been hurt for 2 years. When are we going to let him go? Just let him go. Higgins performed 4 for 77 yards.
2 weeks in a row.
Boyd, 7 for 90 yards. Let's let AJ Green, RIP. I'm sorry, man. I used to be a fan. I gave you a shot, and I sold you last year in Dynasty because of the risk factor. And it's here, man. He's just aging out. Some Irish kid.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
that's right.
Drew.
No, it was Connor.
For a little draft pick action.
It was Connor. So good move out of you, and you wait to see that maybe he has a good week before you try to trade him or move him. I wouldn't just drop him because somebody's going to have interest.
No, don't drop him.
Maybe
you can
pick
keep him. Like if you're in the middle of a trade, you could. Yeah, I guess maybe you'd redraft, or you could. If you're targeting somebody else, you could throw AJ Green in there as just and I'll throw in AJ Green.
There are 4 receivers in this game that you would rather have right now than AJ Green. 2 are on his team, and that's Boyd, who had another monster game, and Higgins, that you mentioned, Chef, who had 2 touchdowns the week before. Burrow looks like the real deal. And on the other side of the ball, DJ Shark came back with a vengeance, right?
We were waiting for this.
Yes, sir.
And then on the Sunday tilt yesterday, actually, I said I was holding on LaVisca Chenault
all day
just in case I wanted to see more production. And the production came through 5 for 86 on 6 targets. I mean, yeah, if they are going to continue to use him in this offense and he produces, I'm sure the touchdown production will come along as well. I definitely can have some flex consideration for him moving forward.
Yeah, I dig it, Chef, and Chenault is one of those guys that I definitely want to have on my roster going forward. Like you said, Jay Gruden's changed that offense, and that offense has become like a check down Charlie, and he's the underneath guy, dude. They're using him like a weapon. They're lining him up in the backfield everywhere as a tight end, split end. So he's a guy that I would love to have on my team, and then he's in a serious flex consideration from here on out.
Right.
Oh, yeah, the Bengals got their win, by the way, Chef. You got to shout out to Joe Burrow, first win of his career.
Yeah, congratulations. And he is the Tiger King, as we talked about on Sunday.
The real deal.
Yeah.
Don't put that evil on him.
Oh, I'm definitely putting that evil on him.
They shouldn't have put that.
He plays for the Bengals.
Yeah.
He went from the Tigers to the Bengals.
Yeah, he should be the real. It should be the real Tiger King.
Yeah.
Like we should put a real.
Not a negative.
No,
like
not
my
that.
man's going to get a crown eventually.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, I don't know about that. It's the Bengals, but still. Yeah.
Well, we're not crowning anybody in this game yet, but boy, was it a big, juicy 49-38 win for the Cleveland Browns over the Dallas Cowboys.
Whoa.
Yeah. Can we say Dak Prescott knows how to score some touchdowns and throw the ball?
It's unreal.
Really
500 yards.
Comeback?
500 yards doesn't happen all the time, guys. Like we see a lot of 400-yard games, maybe 450, like Matt Ryan had it earlier. Dak himself, but 472 last week and 500 on the dot this week. I know Cleveland's defense isn't a world beater, and neither is Seattle, but man, when you put up 500 yards,
he's on pace for something over 6,000. On pace for over 6,000 yards in the season, which is unheard of.
450 yards 3 weeks in a row.
That's gross.
It's unbelievable.
Yes,
it's unbelievable production. So the concerns about paying him should go out the window.
Let me ask you guys a question: did you learn more about the Browns yesterday, or did you learn more about the Cowboys yesterday?
I learned more about the Cowboys the way you said that because their defense has holes all over the place.
I agree. That's great. I had no idea that it was. I mean,
you knew it was bad.
You knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was.
this bad.
Well, we also knew that Trayvon Diggs was a little banged up going into this game.
And he's a rookie. It's a lot to expect to come in and have him solidify your defense.
Sure.
Listen, they lost Leighton Vander Esch and they lost Gerald McCoy. Those things hurt more than everybody would like to admit. They didn't sign Earl Thomas, so you never solved the problem at safety. You cut Clinton Diggs. You traded away Byron Jones. What did you expect your defense to be?
Right.
You know what I mean? We should have been a little bit more prepared for the fact that they're playing this bad.
And speaking of cuts, man, unfortunately, the Browns deal with a cut in this one. Nick Chubb going down with a
MCL.
Torn MCL?
Not torn. Sprain.
Yeah. Grade 2, I believe, and he's placed on IR for at least 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. 6 weeks.
So Kareem Hunt wheels up for the next man up.
Chef, I got a question about this game. I know we're moving through this kind of quickly and we want to leave through it, but real quick, man, are you panicking a little bit on Michael Gallup? When your quarterback goes for 500 yards and your receiver gets 29 yards receiving, I thought he would have the best game going into this. I thought that wouldn't be the matchup. I thought that Denzel would be on him a little bit, and he wasn't. And he was on Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper still shined. So it the Gallup hype, I feel like it took a little hit.
Well, he only caught 2 for 29 on 5 targets. And when that happens, obviously Cooper got the majority of the targets, but getting 16 targets in this one.
Unbelievable usage. And then CeeDee Lamb, too, 8, though.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is going forward, you won't know which one is going to have, who's going to be the secondary wide receiver in that system.
Yeah,
and it kind of puts a little bit of a storm cloud over on top of Michael Gallup and or Amari Cooper.
And it does Amari Cooper, too.
Yeah. Because you don't know which guy it's going to be. It's going to be matchup dependent, and especially on the games that you see the running game click, which this one it did not.
It has not. But they were so far down, though, Chef, in their defense. It was 41-14, man, going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they wound up just throwing the ball, and it looked like the middle of the field was open more. So we saw some crossing routes going from Amari Cooper. And
CeeDee Lamb ate out of the slot.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I think it was game script. I think game script is really what kind of left Gallup out of this game.
Yeah.
And so I'm not panicking.
I think Gallup is going to be that guy when they want to take a shot, a sneaky shot or a contested catch shot. That's where it's going to be like blown plays. So yeah, you can downgrade him. Off of this game alone, I would downgrade him to a flex more than our wide receiver.
Okay, I did it. That's what I was wondering, Chuck.
But I'm not selling him or anything like we're dropping him. Absolutely not.
No, not a drop.
All right. Anything else to cover on this beast of the game?
Now, is Kareem Hunt an RB1 from now on?
Yes.
Okay.
Kareem Hunt was a top 10 RB with Nick Chubb there. Had the potential to be a top 10 with Nick Chubb there. So
yeah, they could have done that. Yeah, the usage like 300 yards rushing. I know they're not playing the Cowboys every week, but they're committed to that run, man.
Also, just a sneak peek into our waiver wire heroes for next week. Since the Nick Chubb injury, Kareem Hunt obviously will be the major guy, but Dearness Johnson out of South Florida, 13 attempts for 95 yards. If they're going to use somebody to bang the ball around, I think this is him, and I don't think it's Hilliard. I mean, Hilliard only had 5 carries for 19 yards and 1 reception. So I think.
Is this one of those moments where, like, who? Like,
yeah, this is a who
Johnson,
moment. Dearness Johnson. Ernest goes to Cleveland.
I was beautiful. I was going to say that.
Dearness goes to Cleveland. So Dearness Johnson, South Florida University, College of South Florida. I don't really know. School.
USF, University of South Florida.
Yes, thank you. So
Marlon Mack's old school.
Yeah, he's a rookie. So we'll see what happens. Keep an eye on him. Might be a sneaky flex ad for your waiver wire, especially if you are an Austin Eckler owner. But we're not going to hit that game yet. We're going to go right into the New Orleans-Detroit game, where, thank God, there were no injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Desmond Trufant did leave. The cornerback for the Lions did leave. And there were a bunch of holes on the New Orleans side, defensive-wise. But we're not talking defense. We're talking a lot of offense production. On both sides of the ball, more so in the Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara spot. 14 carries for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns for Latavius Murray, and 19 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown for Kamara.
That's commitment, Chef. Ooh. They were committed to the run, even though they were down, too. They were down early in that game. And then it looked like the Lions were going to come out and win that like we thought. And then it turned around real quick.
It turned around real fast with the passing work to Traquan Smith and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
And as soon as they picked up the lead, it seemed like the running game just picked up where that passing game.
Once they got back into it, forget
Yes.
about it. Yeah. Once they got back comfortable again, they could reestablish
A
the
couple
run.
of
That's why I
unfortunate
took
things happened for the Lions. A couple turnovers from Matt Stafford. They couldn't dig themselves out of the hole.
He didn't have the sharpest game, Chef, because I was a little underwhelmed by the performance of Galladay, who was kept under 100, and Hawkinson didn't have a great game. And where was Marvin Jones?
Hawkinson had a decent game, I want to say.
He just fell into the end zone, though,
He
Chef.
fell into the end zone. He also would have caught another touchdown. He should have had 2 touchdowns in this game.
I don't have the stat in front of me, but I don't know how many catches he had. But
He only had 2 on 4 targets.
Yeah, so 2 catches for a guy that we thought was going to have a breakout type of game. It feels underwhelming.
Well,
for me.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, 1 touchdown is okay. It makes it fantasy relevant. He definitely gets into that low-end tight end 1 situation, which you want.
Right.
He's not going to put up George Kittle numbers.
I thought he had a shot, though, this week. I thought he had a realistic chance to do so this week.
If
On
he
paper,
caught the other touchdown, he would have
Right.
definitely been in the top 5.
Right. But that's touchdown dependency that I didn't expect from this game script. I thought it was going to be wide open and they were going to throw the ball a lot more. But, it is what it is. I did like
They should have continued to throw the ball, and they started feeding Adrian Peterson, and it just fell apart from there.
And Matt Patricia's next. We didn't leave the news with this because we didn't do a news segment, but Bill O'Brien out as the coach for the Texans, and I feel like Matt Patricia's coming up soon, man. He's going to run out of time.
close. He's got to be on the list somewhere.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the Texans real fast. But we're going to keep it rolling. Russell Wilson, Ryan Fitzpatrick. It was a battle in Miami, and Russ cooked again, man. 360 for 2 touchdowns. It was awesome.
Yeah, Russ is steady cooking.
Yeah,
Steady cooking. He hasn't stopped. He's similar to an MVP. I mean, he's on the rate. Didn't he just tie the touchdown record through 4 games? We don't have a screen, Jeff. That's what's going on.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That's why I just got a text message that we weren't on the screen. It says, "Why is your pod a white screen?"
Oh, boy. Let me see if I can fix that. Sorry.
I thought it was just this.
I thought it was
just not
Hey.
And now we're on.
You can just talk about that. It's all right. We're still learning here. And here we are. We are now on the screen. Okay. Moving on. Right back to the info. Russell Wilson, 24 on 34 passes, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. We knew that Miami would stand up a little bit for them on defense, but it wasn't enough. And we saw Chris Carson come alive in this game.
He was hurt a little bit, so he missed some time, and he missed the chance to score a touchdown on one of those drives early on in the game. And when he came back in, he was great. It was a possible concussion, but he was ruled to be able to come back and play. He would have probably cracked 100 yards and not fallen short around 80. He actually had a really good game. And the offense in general, they just look good. I mean, they're really going to be tough to stop, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot to ask for the Dolphins to be able to stand up to that. We did a good job. We had it within one possession the whole time.
Absolutely.
I was waiting for a little Fitzmagic, but he was a little more Fitztragic than I wanted him to be. And, it just didn't work out for us.
I mean, fantasy points-wise, he did outscore Russell 23.3 to 21.9.
Oh, yeah, I started him in the league, too, over
He broke 300
over
yards.
Brady, yeah.
Threw like 315.
I knew that. The smash over was that he would throw over 300 yards. We didn't find the end zone. We had a little bit of a drop. Isaiah Ford, who I was taking a dart throw on yesterday all morning.
A decent game.
Well, he had 4 catches, but he had 10 targets, man.
Right.
And that's the opportunity that you want. Like your boy Mooney, like he had Darnell Mooney. Like if you have the opportunity, man, you might have to go with those guys.
Yeah. The big shocker here was David Moore as the lead wide receiver.
Yeah, David Moore, let's go.
Where
was Tyler Lockett?
He was there. He just wasn't catching anything, and eventually, he just
I know he was there.
It was uncharacteristic, but he dropped the ball or two.
Well, he had
yesterday.
Xavier Howard covering him as
Yeah,
well.
he did. He dropped the ball or two, though.
Yeah, but David Moore, 3 for 95 and a touchdown, wound up finishing the day with 18.5 fantasy points, which is just awesome.
Did he have one called back too?
And DK almost scored 2 on one. DK went
DK
4 for
went-
over 100, and he almost scored 2.
Yeah, he went out at the 1 yard line or something like that. Miles Gaskin kind of quiet.
Yeah, Parker had a good game, though, Chef. We talked about Parker yesterday, and you said, that he was going to have a good game.
Yeah,
and
my
he did.
DFS skills were up this week, man. That's 3 out of 4 weeks hitting second place in the DHH group.
It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty special. I
All
like
right, I'm glad. I'm putting enough time in. I hope I get something out of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely not happening in my home leagues right now.
I love apple juice.
Mr. Swanson's killing the home league. Shout out to him, by the way.
Yeah. Well, we won't talk about that.
I don't want to talk about it either because I don't want
that
to
we're in together. I had to play both of you guys in all four. And I mean, come on, find another league.
It's so much fun.
Every other league I'm in without you guys, I'm doing great.
It really gets hard when you start pillow talking with your friends when you create a podcast, and then
everybody knows what you're thinking.
And now there's no secrets anymore.
Yeah, well, there's no secret in Austin Eckler's injury. Unfortunately, he will be out for at least 6 weeks. Look for Justin Jackson and Josh Kelly to tote the rock and be that 1A, 1B. We don't know how it's going to go with Kelly. Second fumble in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And it may be more Justin Jackson than we expected.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to trust him until he holds on to that ball. Until he puts in a performance where he gets 15, 20 carries and keeps the ball secure and doesn't fumble, because otherwise Anthony Lynn's not going to have too much patience being a running back coach.
Well, obviously, Keenan Allen's targets will go up because of Austin Eckler's injury. And you saw he had 12 targets during this game. Only caught 8 of them for 62, which is he was the lead scorer with a guy I named on Sunday morning, Jalen Guyton.
There you go.
But it was all done on one play, 1 for 72 on a touchdown. You love to hit those little streaking shots right there. That's good. I'll take a small victory lap on that. Herbert looked great. Herbert looked great on the long ball, and if he's going to keep this up,
he looks good, man. He stood toe to toe with the GOAT, bro. On the road, toe to toe with the GOAT.
Yeah, I really thought they had it. In the bag, and then they just let Tom, after the Austin Eckler injury, Big Tom just like, okay, this is the time that we need to come back. Cranked up Scotty Miller's engine and back-to-back beautiful passes, put some points on the board. O.J. Howard.
Mike Evans, too.
Unfortunate for O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
It's another injury.
Did you guys hear the stat that when Tom Brady started the league, Herbert was 2 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Insane.
So, yeah, but listen, he was 2 years old. But this guy, Brady, like with Herbert and with everybody else, guys like Brady, guys like Mahomes, when you have them on the ropes, it's like a really good boxer. You stunned him, you hit him, he's shaking. You better put him down, dude.
Yeah, because now they're scarier than ever.
Now they're coming back. If you let them get their legs back under them and let them get situated, they're going to come back swinging, and you're going to have problems.
Who did they play last week? Did they play Green Bay last week?
Who?
Chargers.
Carolina.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. But he's still been putting up good games. I mean, he played Mahomes in week 2, and he stood toe to toe with him too.
That's what I was thinking.
The one.
I knew they played,
and he played the Chiefs, and he couldn't put him down. Like the defense held them, and he just couldn't put them away. They ended up having to kick a field goal, and you give them a little bit of sliver of life, of hope, where guys like Brady and Mahomes are going to eat.
Yeah. Well, good for him to hang in there.
Yeah, and then Tampa Bay only ended up winning by a touchdown, and the Chargers have a habit of keeping the games tight close. And we saw Brady have himself a great game. And there was a game yesterday, Chef, that we didn't think was going to be close. We didn't think it was going to be any kind of a contest, and Baltimore was going to wipe the floor with the Washington football team.
Well, the Washington football team, I guess the spread was 14, so I guess they did cover the spread, which I was afraid to take the bet on. Yeah, I remember correctly that the spread was 14 points.
It was, and I thought it was too high.
Yeah, we thought it was a lot of points.
Yeah, well, Vegas got that one right.
Yeah, right on the nose, huh? They have a funny way of doing
it. They didn't expect for Antonio Gibson, though, to go off on over 128 all scrimmage yards.
Yeah, he did a lot to the air.
He went 4 for 82, and on the ground, 13 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. It's a nice thing. I don't think it happens every week. It will depend on game script as usual. Yeah. And then, again, on the other side of the ball with the running backs, Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins. And they're starting to become the you can't play me.
Right.
And definitely Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, especially when they're up. I mean, you saw Lamar Jackson have a decent game. He wasn't that MVP caliber. He had that one good run for 50 yards, which was his longest run in his career so far.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, but then that throw, Chef, when he was scrambling to the left and kind of opened his body, threw across his body with the arms open and threw a perfect dime to Mark Andrews.
So Andrews?
Yeah, right? He had flashes of the greatness, but they didn't put it together for the entire 4 quarters. And you're right about those running backs. I can't trust any of them. I love Hollywood Brown, I love Mark Andrews, and I love Lamar Jackson. But the running backs, if I have one, I'm trying to get rid of them. And if not, I'm fading them every week. I don't know who to start. You start shrugging your shoulders and you don't know what to do.
I mean, we all talked about J.K. Dobbins on how great his level of performance is. And the fact is, he could be great. He could just be like DeAndre Swift And he needs to wait for his opportunity. And unfortunately for him, Mark Ingram is in the way.
Yeah.
But I think if they keep winning games, they may keep Mark Ingram on a cheap deal 1 year. I mean, if he thinks he's going to make the money, so just temper expectations going forward for J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along, and one disappointment on this was the Panthers
Won
beat the Cardinals.
games.
Yeah. That killed all of my parlays.
Everybody's parlay.
Yeah.
It's like week 1 when the Colts lost.
We should know better too, Chef, because it was a team from the West coming over to the East and trying to play an early game and all that. That usually is a trap kind of game when you have a young team. But I just thought Hopkins and Kirk playing was going to give them enough of a boost to carry them over. We thought it was going to be a great game for Kenyon Drake. We saw him falter. And Carolina's better than people thought, man. And I don't know if you guys watched. I told you yesterday morning, Jeremy Chin watched that kid play ball. And he was in the backfield, man. He was like, Carolina's defense might be a little something to worry about. Like, they're actually playing a lot better than people expected.
The one thing that I didn't expect was Kenyon Drake getting a little banged up with a chest injury. 13 carries for 35 yards.
Very knocked out of him.
Very unfortunate. Fortunately enough, he will be okay going forward. But, man, he's going to be hard to trust, man. Chase Edmonds picked up right where he left off. And if he can't go, Chase Edmonds is going to tote that rock.
Yeah, that offense scares me a little bit in general, Chef. They just look like they're going to fall into some trap games and have a little bit more of a hard time than it looked like early on. They were going to be world beaters, and that this was going to be the year that Kyler was in the MVP conversation. I'm starting to temper a little bit the expectation. And Wednesday, when we do our quarterly report and the next episode of The Tilt is Real, and we kind of recap our predictions from the beginning of the year and our rankings, and we do our week 4 report, we're going to try to figure that out.
The last thing I want to take away from this game is Robbie Anderson with 11 targets for 99 yards, 8 receptions. He is the wide receiver 1 on that team.
Yeah,
I'm putting my flag in.
You really, through 4 weeks, you're ready to give up on DJ Moore and call Robbie Anderson the 1?
Yeah, I'm calling him the 1. I mean, he's getting more targets every single week. It's obviously going to continue. I mean, DJ Moore only had 6 targets. He only caught 4 of them for 49 yards, and now he's turning into that touchdown-dependent kind of guy.
Yeah, we'll see what it goes. I'm going to pump the brakes on that a little bit, and I'm going to see if he continues to be that guy. But
I mean, obviously, I'm going to look over the stats and comb through with fine comb before I turn around. But, yeah, DJ Moore is looking more like a flex play, and Robbie Anderson is looking more like a wide receiver 2 every week.
Well, speaking of guys that are looking like a wide receiver 2 every week, my boy Will Fuller in the next game, the Vikings and the Texans, that was a really close game, and we talked about it a little bit. I mentioned that Bill O'Brien is gone, and we'll see what that does to change the culture there and to change the offense.
Got to do something.
But Will Fuller had a really good game.
Yeah, Will Fuller, I had him in DFS. He almost caught 2 touchdowns.
That one was close, man.
One was called back.
Yeah, that was a judgment call, yeah.
It was a judgment call. Look,
almost a great catch.
It was good to me, man.
Right, yeah. But I also thought that Bryant scored years ago in Green Bay,
Yeah.
I don't know what a catch is anymore.
On this one,
Yes.
I think the big surprise is Minnesota actually stepping up and looking like a more complete team. Yes, we've seen Houston now 0-4, not be able to do it on defense, not be able to stop anybody, and their offensive production suffers because of that.
Yeah.
But the Vikings, man, they took a step in the right direction. It looks like Cousins is a little bit more comfortable throwing to his wide receivers. Adam Thielen did his thing again, 8 for 114 and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, another 100-plus yard game. 2 weeks in a row now.
Shout out to Zach Argue.
Yeah.
If I'm pronouncing his last name right.
Oh, man,
he had a question last week about how we thought about Justin Jefferson. And I
Yeah.
was pleased to see him get in the end zone and do what he did.
But the big story, as always, is Dalvin Cook, man. 27 carries for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Should have been 3.
Yeah, should have been 3. He came out of the game a little
And
bit.
Madison went in and scored. Nice and
Madison
easy.
came in and scored one nice little 10-yard rip, which obviously Dalvin Cook would have helped me out against Mr. Swanson. But, hey, that's what it is, man. It's win and lose. I mean, I could be right about all the players in the world if I don't have them on my team.
Yeah.
Or in my starting roster. Like, there was a lot of teams this weekend that I had Gibson on my roster, but I did not play him.
I started him.
Unfortunately.
man.
Well,
you
you probably had no other choice.
That's true.
Sure,
too.
I did.
I didn't. At this
I could have
point,
started.
we're not
I could have started Kenny Drake. I'm kidding. I did not start until you mentioned over Kenny Drake. Looking back, it would have been the right
And I would
decision.
have I had the same thing. I mean, if I would have started Antonio Gibson over Austin Eckler, yeah, sure, I would have looked like a genius.
Yeah.
But hey, that's not
That's
how
not
it
a
goes.
Before the
business
game
decision.
started, they
That's
would
not
have
a good
kicked you out of
decision,
the.
though. You made the right choice going into it analytically.
And that's how the cookie crumbles. And the cookie's crumbling a little bit more for the LA Rams. Now they're still 3-1, going up against the 0-4 Giants. Now 17-9 in this total. Man,
you guys like that 9 total, though, man.
Oh God,
you showed a great fight, though. Like, I mean, it was a good fight.
Defense looks okay.
Yeah, you fixed some problems from last week.
I'm sure we'll be fixing more problems down the road because there's plenty of problems to be fixed, especially on the offensive side of the ball, where Devontae Freeman scores 10.8 fantasy points. He beat Daniel Jones 10.1. So what do we expect going forward from the Giants? Unless it's a positive matchup, don't go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see what the defense did, but I wouldn't mess around. Like, I have a lot of stake in Evan Ingram and Daniel Jones because, of course, pre-Barkley, that was going to be a promising offense, and they were going to be absolutely great. But so far, you haven't seen it. Now the offense isn't gelling, and there's a lot of problems. Danny Dimes showed life, man. Like, he ran around and he scrambled for his life, and he was targeting Evan Ingram.
At least he's not giving up like the Jets.
Right. They're not quitting. It's not over. Yeah. They're not throwing in the towel. They're going to keep fighting. Hey, if you're in a division where the division champ through 4 weeks has 1 win, keep fighting, dude. You never know. You never know.
Well, the fight was real on the other side of the ball. It looked like they were scrambling a little bit. Darrell Henderson could not get the job done. And we saw more production out of Malcolm Brown. I believe you will see the running back by committee going forward, especially when Cam Akers gets healthy.
Yeah, that's another backfield, Chef. Again, like the Ravens one, you start to feel like, you know what, I'd rather just not own them. Like, I'm almost at the point where I'd rather give up on those backfields in general and try to move somewhere else where there's a little more clarity. Because that's not it.
That's the word too, clarity.
Right.
Because if you can have, I feel like the same thing in Baltimore. The same sort of thing. There's no clarity there. I know there's talent.
Right.
But for fantasy purposes, there's no clarity.
You're not even getting the Mark Ingram, the old Mark Ingram Kamara split in Baltimore. You're not getting the split here where you were getting Todd Gurley and Malcolm Brown, where you knew one or the other was going to outperform. You don't get it now. You don't know who it's going to be. There's 3 guys.
Speaking of Todd Gurley, how's he do tonight?
Oh, he's going to have a game.
Sure is.
Yeah.
I think he might find the end zone tonight, but that's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that one goes over.
Let's stay on point, guys.
2 more. All right, we got 2 more.
We're almost there. One thing we talked about some clarity is that Josh Allen can throw the ball. What is going on with Buffalo? And I was watching the NFL Network today, and they were saying, "Are you a Bills believer?"
Yeah, I saw that.
Are you a Bills believer? I think so, man. God, I was so against this whole format.
No, I'm not a believer.
Oh, that's right.
You're not a believer.
No, never.
I am. I like it. I'm happy to see it
making the playoffs.
I feel like the Bills and the Jets were in the same pool for a while. So were the Eagles for a while until we won the Super Bowl. I feel like we were all in the same pool. We're all just sort of like blue-collar teams. The Browns that had always been like pushed down and mushed, and nothing good happened for a while. So I'm happy to see some things from him, and I'm really happy to see some things from Josh Allen. There's a lot of people didn't expect him to. No one expected him to do how well he's doing. Not this. Oof. Good.
Yeah. Hey, let's check back at the midterms and see what's up.
We'll see where it is at week 8. But as of right now, he's looking like a stud. The Bills are 4-0. Derek Carr put up a pretty good fight. Josh Jacobs, not too much going on there. And we knew he was banged up going into this game.
But the usage was good. They utilized him. It's just that the game script didn't allow it. They were playing from behind, and they still tried to throw him the ball a little bit. And I'm not being an apologist because I have 80% ownership stake in Josh Jacobs. I really am. I'm happy for opportunity. If a guy gets 10 targets, great. If a guy gets 20 touches, awesome. So if he gets looks and running the ball, no matter what, even when they were down, he was using the passing game, I take that as a positive sign and keep moving forward.
As you should.
I'll take one little victory lap on this. I called out Nelson Aguilar on this one, and he was a big producer. 4 for 44 and a touchdown. He helped you out in your flexes.
Yeah, and if he would have had the other touchdown not been called back, he would have been over 100 yards. So.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
But they're still missing Brian Edwards and Henry Ruggs meantime that team.
All right, and moving back into the Sunday night game, we had some great things go on there, man. It was back and forth for a little bit, and the Eagles finally take a victory over the 49ers, a banged-up 49ers team at that. But they were both banged up on each side of the ball.
Banged-up Eagles team
so
too.
The Eagles are now 1-2-1. 25-20. And Mr. Swanson's happy about this one. Hey, I said a little bit of something about it, guys. I said they might have a little bit of a chance to keep it close. I didn't think they were going to tilt over them, though.
I'm just happy. I've just been happy all day long. I was falling asleep when I got home last night. I was so tired, and I took toothpicks and I propped my eyes open and stayed awake for the whole game. I'm so happy that I did, especially that drive where Mullen's first throw was an interception. It was a pick six. I looked out of the chair. I probably woke up my lovely girlfriend, but that was huge. The defense kept us in the game, especially there, and you didn't really see a lot from Zach Ertz.
No, they took him away.
They took him away. It's either they took him away or he had to block more because you can tell. I mean, Carson did a lot of scrambling. He did a lot of spin. I'm out.
Yeah, there's he might have stayed in a little bit more than normal, but there was a guy named Fred Warner out there that was playing out of his mind yesterday, and he was sideline to sideline, and he was on Ertz a lot. And they also bring this Jaquiski Tart down, and Tart was either on Ertz or on Miles Sanders out of the backfield. So that they were trying to say, "I dare you to beat me with Greg Ward and name the other wide receiver." Go ahead, I dare you. And they did just enough, and they were able to win that game. I thought personally, I owe you an apology, and I owe the chef an apology, because I really thought that the Giants were going to get trampled, and they showed a good. They put up a really good fight against the Rams, and that was anybody's game for most of that game. And you guys actually pulled out a victory in San Francisco against a team that you saw what Kittle did, man. He's over 180 yards and 15 catches.
He's the whole team right now.
You know what I mean?
The entire team right now.
So 15 for 15
that's
on
a practice squad
183 yards. Yeah. Almost caught that last
one.
Yeah,
the Hail Mary almost brought it down. So, and you guys, and you still won.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys. Congratulations on your wins and enjoy that. I know it felt good when we beat the Jags. We're 1-3, and I feel good for my team. Like it's a nice moment.
Little victories, a little bit of momentum.
The season's like that. The season's not over. Like the chef mentioned them earlier, and it's unfortunate. And I apologize to the Jets fans out there. But if you're a Jets fan and you know it's over, like right now it's over. Like
I know we're not going to get
different. The Houston Texans just fired their coach. They're 0-4. Like that feels bad. Like 1-3 and we survived the gauntlet. Like I'm okay.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Bill O'Brien, he put so much investment into his off-season picks, and he made the dumbest trade in the world. And we all saw it. DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick and David Johnson. I mean, it was like stealing candy from the baby on the Cardinal side of the ball. And that's hate, man. You make those decisions, you live by them.
Yeah.
And finally, they weren't getting along, and they're cutting ties. I'm just shocked that Adam Gase will have a job.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But we are here. We are live from Romanelli's Garden Cafe on Route 9 in Galloway. We're doing a live stream, live on location, getting our orders in for our burgers, our buffalo wings, our flatbread pizzas, and enjoying some cold brewskis with the boys. We have a jumbo screen out here, and it's just a great time outside. It feels like a bar, man. It's great. I love it. And they are showing right now. We have kicked off the Patriots versus the Chiefs.
Let's go.
Postponed due to COVID, but hey, Cam Newton has COVID, unfortunately. My last week acquisition rather. And you know what? Shit happens. Sorry, excuse my language.
Stuff happens. Yes.
Yeah. And
Dave's the only one watching now, anyway.
Yeah. It's okay. We're not gonna put this out on the podcast for Nations this month.
All right. But we had fun doing it.
Had fun doing it, man.
We
That's
had
what
fun
it's all
doing
about.
it. So let's do this then. If we're gonna be watching the game and go enjoy ourselves, so let's shout out. What are we doing? Who's winning this game right here? Before we go to the doubleheader, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Do they cover? It's like 11.5.
It's 11 and a half.
10.5, I think.
Man, I should have put my bet in yesterday when it was.
I forgot to put bets in because you've been doing the damn show.
I think it's 10.5.
The Beaver Dam show.
Yeah, we were doing the. You guys didn't hear about it?
Over under is
Doesn't
48.5. I think something along those lines, and a 10.5 spread.
Yeah, well, I think that has something to do with Sony Michel going out. The running game is going to be a little pedestrian, so it does not look good for the Patriots, and they look good for Julian Edelman. They're going to have to throw the ball. Nikhil Harry, in particular, has the great coverage this week. I mean, it has the better matchup. Look at it real fast.
Yeah, I mean, while you look that up.
He gets Latarius Sneed, and Edelman most likely gets on.
Yeah, he can come into the slot, but Yeah, I don't think this is a contest. I think this is a big Kelsey and Hilaire game. I think Belichick does what he always does and takes away your best weapon. What's your biggest threat? The deep ball. You don't want to have what happened in Baltimore happen to you. That deep pass to Cole, that backbreaker, like you don't need that happening. You got to stop that. So he's going to want to let him play underneath, move the ball, but don't score. Maybe hold them in field goals a couple times and try to stay in the game. That's the Belichick mentality. So I see a big Kelsey and CEH game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kelsey have a big game today.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay. Kelsey, yep. I know he tries to take away your best thing, and usually that's Kelsey, but like you saw him take away Waller, and you saw him limit Jacobs. If he takes away Tyreek Hill and the deep threat, he's only going to be able to limit one or the other. If you make a commitment to limit CEH, Kelsey's going to eat you alive. If you take away Kelsey, CEH is going to eat you alive.
Tyreek Hill already has one reception for 22 yards.
Yeah. Underneath them.
I think they're going to stretch the field a little bit when they want to. I think they're going to be able to do what they want against this New England defense.
I agree.
Listen,
Cam threw for 3.
Well, they'll figure it out after the first half.
Russ lit them up. New England. So
I think James White, Edelman, and Harry have the better games on the receiving side of the ball, obviously, for the Patriots. And every week it's a different story. It's a dice roll on who's going to be the main producer in fantasy points for the Chiefs. And obviously, you have to play them all, right? And unfortunately, there's a lot of players on that team. And if it's not a big shootout, then someone's going to be left in the dust. And like you said, Juan, your guys this week are Kelsey and Hilaire. And I'm down with it. I mean, Hilaire already has 3.2 points. He's got 2 carries for 11 yards, 1 reception for 11 yards. So they are going to dink and dunk down that field. Stay away from the safeties. Stay away from the quarterbacks.
Yep. Stay away from Gilmore and the McCourty brothers.
Yeah, and then just keep moving down the ball. And there we go again. 2 receptions for 39 yards for Tyreek Hill. So we're moving along already. The game is going. We
got to get to it.
Oh, love football.
Hey, doubleheader. Don't forget the second game too. All right.
Yeah. So
I think the Packers win. There's too much. They've been scoring over 40 points a game in all 3 games. I think they do the same thing to the Falcons, who are very, very, very vulnerable on the defensive side of the ball. Shootout, old school. Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan. Like, this is great, dude.
This is going to be the point game.
This is a good
keynote. Devontae Adams is out.
Yeah.
So we do not know who the receivers are going to be. MVS is an obvious candidate.
Yeah.
And then your boy Juan, I saw you pick him up in a lot of leagues. Robert Tonyan, the wide receiver, tight end hybrid. Definitely a player over Jace.
Hey, where's 80?
Sternberger?
Where's 85? Like Kittle, you might see him do some things. Serious. I mean, he's not Kittle, man, but you're gonna see him do some things.
I think also they try to pound the ball a little bit with Aaron Jones. Get Jamal Williams involved.
And you might see AJ Dillon for the first time today too, down near the goal line. If he's active.
I hope so, but I'm pretty sure he's active. But I don't.
You're gonna see him down near the goal line today.
Yeah, maybe they might preserve Aaron Jones a little bit, but if Aaron Jones is cooking, man, let him cook. But yeah, Atlanta, they're gonna torch him through the air. They have to.
Yeah.
It's Aaron Rodgers.
They're going to put up a fight, though. Atlanta hasn't lost a game where they haven't put up a fight. And Matt Ryan's going to do his thing. And all 3 receivers, if they're a go, they're a go.
Yeah, they're a go. If you waited on Russell Gage to put him in your lineup, if you waited for Julio, if you waited for Calvin Ridley, go for it. I believe, I'll check it on right now about who has the better cornerback matchup. I think they're active.
I think they'll all be active. Whether or not they're all, relevant, like you saw Hopkins be active but not play really well, used as a decoy, like you mentioned earlier, Chef, off air. Like maybe that same situation that plays out with Julio, and they try to rest him. You know what I mean?
If they use Julio as a decoy, he's never really a decoy.
Right.
He will get his targets no matter what, unless that way the decoy actually works. But yeah, Russell Gage, Hayden Hurst, they could be in line for some good production.
Agreed.
That's how you beat the Green Bay Packers in the middle of the field, not on the outside.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah.
We made it through. It was
a rocky beginning, but a hell of fun.
We always finish strong. Goonies never die.
Always finish strong. Always.
All right. So if you are listening to this, I see some people on there. We do have a comment. Look at that.
It's Dave.
It was Dave. Our coach soon enough.
Yeah, he's saying Gates is about to get fired as soon enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe. All right. Well, thanks for joining in.
Big shout out to Drew and Romanelli's Garden Cafe.
Yes, sir.
Galloway.
Thank you, Drew.
Beautiful out here. We got the game going on.
A little bit something to eat for us. You want to jump in on some of that grub?
We might do that.
Let's do it.
I'm definitely getting another beer though. I'm sorry, apple juice.
No, we're drinking beer.
We're getting beer now.
We're at a bar. We're adults. It's okay.
Kind of.
All right. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. As
Yes,
always.
we appreciate you. TheTiltIsReal.com.
Yeah.
Hey. Thank you for listening to the Tilt is Real Fantasy Podcast. Check out our website at thetiltisreal.com for weekly articles, breakdowns, and more. Follow us on Twitter at TIR_pod. We'll see you Tilters next week.